there, a very good evening and welcome back to Primetime News on TV1. Let's start off with a look at your top stories for tonight. What happened to the Mahapolis Scholarship? Colombo University students take to the streets. Trade union protests against taxes, bank interest rates and medicine shortage. Professionals claim that exempting non-cash benefits from PE tax only benefits ministers and MPs. Interim order preventing the collection of personal income tax from judges further extended. Court says State Minister Diana Gamage can be arrested without a warrant for violating immigration laws. Taking a look at those stories in detail. Students from the University of Colombo protested in Colombo, demanding the delayed Mahapolis scholarship payments to be made immediately. Students said the scholarship payments were delayed for months.
The Students' Union from the University of Colombo organised a protest on Thursday afternoon. The students demanded that the delayed Mahapolis scholarship payments be made immediately and to reduce the hostel charges. They also marched from the main gate of the university to the main road.
The Mahapolis scholarship payments have been delayed for several months. At the same time, the government set aside 37 million rupees for sanitary facilities for Independence Day. However, they have failed to pay the 5,000 rupees per student scholarship allowance to the students. The hostel charges have been amended and students are forced to pay for amenities as well. There are no dorms for future student monks as well.
The students protested for about an hour and dispersed. The collective of trade unions and mass organizations engaged in protests island-wide against the new tax policy, rise in bank interest rates and the rising cost of living. Leaders of the collective of trade unions and mass organizations joined the protest opposite Sethiripaya on Thursday afternoon.
This government is looting from the people. The Ranil Rajapaksa government does not have a solution to the issues. They can only boast in the Independence Day speech and in the throne speech. They do not have solutions. This is the beginning of the end of the government. If you cannot solve the people's issues, leave. In his throne speech, he referred to regulating certain media and social media platforms that don't do his bidding. Now comes the wave of the working masses. This is the people's movement against a government that forces the people to pay for everything.
The state sector employees protested opposite the Labour Ministry.
If the Ranil Rajapaksa junta does not provide reasonable solutions to these demands in 14 days, the entire working class will go on strike.
A protest took place opposite the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital in Galle against the increase in taxes and bank interest rates.
We wish to inform the rulers that the working class will defeat their conspiracy. The entire labour force will take to the streets against your policies.
A protest was organised by the trade unions attached to Sri Lanka Telecom in Fort Colombo.
This is a struggle against the attempts being made to further burden the working class by imposing taxes. This is a struggle to force Wickramasinghe to withdraw his wrong management decisions. The entire workforce was taxed and they celebrated Independence Day at Galface with our money. We urge Ranil Wickramasinghe to end this facade. This is just the first cannon. By next week, we will bring all the trade unions for a strike.
Health workers protested opposite multiple hospitals on Thursday. The health workers pointed out that the general public has been severely inconvenienced due to the medicine shortage. The Joint Health Workers Union organised a protest opposite the Matara General Hospital.
The entire health service is facing a severe medicine shortage. Treatments have been crippled due to this. In addition, we demand the new tax regime that cripples the lives of the people to be withdrawn. Banks are also taxing the people unjustly. We are short of medicines and facilities, and they want us to tighten our belts so that they can enjoy.
A protest also took place opposite the Kalubovila Teaching Hospital.
The government needs to understand the crisis. A struggle is in the making against the privatization efforts, medicine shortage, staff shortage and depriving the workers of their allowances and benefits. If the government is not ready to intervene, we will launch a massive trade union action within the next 2 weeks.
Postal workers in Sri Lanka launched a 3-day protest against the unjust tax policy, rising bank interest rates and cost of living. Postal workers protested across the country during the lunch hour. A protest took place opposite the Borella post office where postal workers obtained public signatures for a petition.
විශේෂයෙන්ම රටේ බරපතල උද්දමනයක් තියෙන වෙලාවේ මේ රට බංකොලොත් කරලා මේ රටේ තිබුණු මහජන දේපල හොරකම් කරලා අද මේ පාලකයෝ මේ බර රාජ්‍ය අර්ධරාජ්‍ය සේවකයන්ගේ පිට පටවලා මේ රටේ මේ වැඩ කරන පන්තිය මහත් පීඩාවකට පත් කරලා තිබෙනවා.
A protest also took place opposite the Matara main post office. This protest is to show force against the government's program to further burden the people and their oppression. We believe the government will take note of the public sector protest. We hope the government will respond positively. Sri Lanka Telecom trade unions joined the postal workers' protest in Anuradhapura.
The Ranil Rajapaksa government is looting from the people at a time when inflation is also high. We cannot pay for the rockets sent to space by the Rajapaksa sons. We cannot settle the bills for their overseas tours. If they cannot govern, they must leave.
The trade union of the non-academic staff of the Rajarata University staged a protest opposite the Rajarata University, demanding for the unbearable cost of living to be reduced and for either an increase in salary or an additional allowance to be paid to them. The Student Council of Rajarata University also supported the protest.
The people are suffering with no food to eat. We will be uniting the entire university system to take to the streets against suppression.
Several protests were staged on Wednesday demanding the government to revise the unjust taxes. A circular was issued by the Department of Inland Revenue announcing several benefits that would not be taxed under the category of non-cash benefits.
මේ සහනයන් ලබා දෙන්නේ මූල්‍යමය නොවන ප්‍රතිලාභයන් වෙන.
These exemptions are given for non-cash benefits. What are these non-cash benefits? These include official residences, official vehicles, drivers, fuel for the official vehicles. This also includes air tickets, insurance schemes and allowances for electricity and fuel. When you look at this list, the people of this country must understand who in the country are entitled to such benefits. It is the 225 members of parliament who are entitled to official vehicles and escort vehicles, fuel for those vehicles, personal staff, telephone allowances, office staff and postal allowances and insurance schemes. What has happened here is that the parliamentarians who are responsible for destroying the country are catering to their own needs.
තමන්ටම බෙදා ගැනීමක් තමයි මේ හරහා කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
මේකෙන් වාසි ලබන්නේ මේ සටන් කරන වෘත්තිකයන් මේ
These tax concessions are not going to benefit the professionals out on the street. This is only going to benefit the politicians of the country who are responsible for bringing these professionals out to the street, destroying the economy of the country and causing the collapse of all other sectors of the country. As far as we know, these amendments only benefit the politicians, and the government is trying to mislead the people again by presenting these amendments. As the Federation of University Teachers Associations, we are not prepared to discuss these, as these were not the amendments that we proposed.
අපිට අපි ඉල්ලපු සංශෝධන නොවන නිසා අපි ඒවා පිළිබඳව කතා කරන්න සූදානම් නැහැ.
The trade unions warn that if the demands of the people continue to be unanswered, they will resort to more severe trade union action.
මේ පැලස්තර විසඳුම් වලින් ලොසින්ජර සීනි බෝල වලින්
We will stay on our course despite these temporary solutions. Tens of thousands of professionals protested at Hyde Park Corner and gave the government our first message. If the government cannot understand this as professionals, we will have to take more stern action.
යන්න ඉදිරියේදී අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
MP Dr. Harsha De Silva stated that there is an opportunity to discuss taxes through the Committee on Public Finance.
මම නම් කිසිසේත්ම විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැහැ.
I do not believe that amending the payee tax would lead to a loss of 100 billion rupees. I do not believe that they can even recover 100 billion rupees. They must disclose the source of this 100 billion, and then we can discuss this openly. We will present the alternatives. We request for a justifiable tax policy that the middle class and the professionals can afford to be presented. We must invite the professionals to the Committee on Public Finance to discuss this. Last evening there were multiple text alerts. The first to send it was the Media Secretary of Ranjit Simbalapitia. It noted that the tax was imposed on the entire segment of non-cash benefits and that it was removed. However, no such thing has happened. Only minor adjustments have been made. We demand to know the major changes that they claim to have been made.
පොඩක් කොලේ වහලා ගහපු පාටක් තමයි අපිට නම් පේන්න තියෙන්නේ.
The Court of Appeal has extended the interim order preventing the collection of the payee tax from the salaries of judges till the petition is supported. The government recently imposed taxes between 6% to 36% on salaries of those earning more than 100,000 rupees a month. The Judicial Services Officers Union filed an appeal with the court challenging the decision, and the court issued an interim order suspending the collection of payee tax from judges. When the matter was taken up today before a judge bench comprising of Justices Dhammika Ganepola, Neeli Davala and Sobita Rajakaruna, the interim court order issued to prevent the collection of the payee tax from the salaries of judges was extended. The petition will be taken up again on the 21st of this month. The lives lost during the period of the people's struggle were remembered during a memorial held at Galle.
ආයුරාරෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සග්ග සම්පatti හැමෝටම තෙරුවන් සරණින් දෙවි රැකවරණින් ජීවිත සාර්ථක වේවා.
Details of corruption in the procurement of coal for the Norachole power plant have emerged. We'll bring you the details after this short commercial break.
News First. Main sponsor.
Durdens Hospital. Dedicated to you. Experience the best in healthcare at Durdens Hospital's new Alfred Place wing. We continue to evolve into a purpose-built hospital of the future, with an ambience built to deliver world-class care. Durdens Hospital, dedicated to you.
Welcome back to the news. The Sumati Awards 2023 got underway in Colombo on Thursday evening. Newsfirst Randika Hettiarachchi won the award for Best News Reporter at the Sumati Awards 2021 for the report on the Ramakan Oya forest destruction. Over 60 awards were presented at the ceremony for programs aired on television for the years 2020 and 2021.
Sirasa TV Ramakan Oya වන විනාශය වාර්තා කළ රන්දික හෙට්ටිආරච්චි සිරස රූපවාහිනිය ප්‍රවෘත්ති අධ්‍යක්ෂ ගායන් සම්පත් මහතාට සහ මෙම වැඩසටහන අධ්‍යක්ෂණය කළ රන්දික හෙට්ටිආරච්චි මහතාට සම්මාන ලබා ගැනීම වෙනුවෙන් වේදිකාවට ආරාධනා කරනවා. ජයග්‍රාහකයන් සියලුම දෙනා වෙනුවෙන් අපගේ උණුසුම් සුබ පැතුම්. එසේනම් පස්වන අධීරයේ සම්මාන ප්‍රදානය වෙනුවෙන් අප සමග සම්බන්ධ වුණු කමර්ෂියල් බැංකුවේ කළමනාකරණ.
The following is a revelation of a corrupt deal behind the procurement process relating to coal for the Norotchole power plant. It has come to light that the contract awarded to supply 720,000 metric tons of coal required for the Norotchole Lakvijay coal power plant until September 2023 is marred with corruption. The chairman of Lanka Coal Company Private Limited had directed this email to the Hong Kong-based supplier, who was qualified to supply 240,000 metric tons of the total 720,000 metric tons of coal. This too is paving the way for the coal tender to be awarded to a UAE-based company that was at the center of a controversy for supplying substandard crude oil to Sri Lanka in the recent past. This is based on a decision reached by the Cabinet of Ministers on the 19th of December 2022. 4 companies had placed bids for the coal tender in question, and instead of selecting the lowest bidder, the Cabinet of Ministers approved awarding the tender to the 3rd and 4th lowest bidders. However, the decision to award the tender was made while the price quoted by those 2 companies were kept a secret. The acting subject minister, presenting a cabinet memorandum to the Cabinet of Ministers on Monday, opened a new chapter in this controversy. He informed the Cabinet of Ministers that the Indonesian company that was selected in the tender process, as per the Cabinet decision on the 19th of December 2022, had withdrawn from the process. Accordingly, the Cabinet thereafter decided to purchase coal from the 2nd and 4th lowest bidders in the tender process in question by procuring 240,000 metric tons and 480,000 metric tons of coal respectively. The supplier selected by the technical committee to deliver the 240,000 metric tons of coal had agreed to supply 1 metric ton of coal for $230 with a credit period of 200 days. However, the supplier who was selected to supply the 480,000 metric tons of coal had not given a definite credit period for Sri Lanka and agreed to sell 1 metric ton of coal at $240. The chairman of Lanka Coal Company Private Limited had sent this particular email to the supplier, who announced a low price and a specific credit period. Isn't this an attempt to surpass the technical committee process so that the other supplier can take charge of the entire tender? Finance Secretary, this is over to you. The adjournment motion debate on the government's policy statement that was presented to Parliament by the President on Wednesday was taken up for debate. Parliamentarians from the Samagi Janabalawegya and the National People's Power did not attend the debate. However, parliamentarians from the Freedom People's Congress, who staged a walkout on Wednesday, joined the debate.
Former Sri Lankan Minister H.M. Fauci re-entered Parliament on Thursday. He took oaths as an MP from the Samagi Janabalawegya in the presence of Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene in Parliament, and he was appointed to the seat left vacant following the resignation of Mujibur Rahman. Thereafter, the debate commenced in Parliament.
I hope the President would not be angered by this. If there were around 50 to 60 UNP MPs in the House, I do not think the President would have been able to take practical decisions with a clear mind. In his presidency, we do not see the UNP leadership. Let us continue with this. I do not understand why Ranil Wickremesinghe took up this matter when there is a crisis in the country. It was former President J.R. Jayawardena who introduced the 13th Amendment. However, during the presidency of J.R. Jayawardena, Ranasinghe Premadasa, D.B. Wijayatunga, Chandrika Kumaratunga, Mahinda Rajapaksa and myself, we never laid a hand on the 13th Amendment. You cannot do anything that the Mahasangha is against. We need a peaceful program for coexistence to develop the country. If we want that, we cannot be divided. I believe we need to step away from this system. We have created a mess by involving politics with religion, history, culture and the economy. I do not think that we can move forward as a country until we get out of this mess.
රටක් විදියට අපිට ඉදිරියට එන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැහැ.
ජනතාව කියන්නේ තෝක තමයි. මේක වැරදි කියලා.
The people oppose this. This drama is of no use. The aim should be to develop politics that would protect the mandate. Then we can make economic and political reform.
දේශපාලන ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණ කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ 13 සම්පූර්ණයෙන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා කියන්නේ යලි.
The full implementation of the 13th Amendment is a merger of the North and East. If the President does not look into this properly, there will be serious repercussions. He will be destroyed. He is wearing a suicide vest, and we see that he will destroy himself and the country at the same time. The Colombo Chief Magistrates Court pointed out to the Criminal Investigations Department that State Minister Diana Gamage can be arrested as it appears that she had violated the Immigration and Emigration Law. Colombo Chief Magistrate Prasanna Alves pointed out the matter to the CID when a private plaint filed by Oshila Herath was taken up on Thursday. When the matter was taken up on Thursday, the Colombo Chief Magistrate noted that it was clear to court that Diana Gamage had produced 2 birth certificates to the Department of Immigration and Emigration to obtain a passport, and that as it is an offence under the Immigration and Emigration Law, she can be arrested without a warrant. The Colombo Chief Magistrate pointed out to the CID that detectives can take action suitable under the Immigration and Emigration Act. The matter will be called up again on the 2nd of March.
Sri Lanka's election headquarters.
People's Action for Free and Fair Elections emphasizes that the people's right to franchise should not be decided on money. Executive Director of PAFRL Rohana Hettiarachchi said that funds for the election can be collected with the contribution of citizens.
If in some way they try to take away the democratic right of the people, the right to vote, we are ready to find the money required for this election. If we allocate an amount of approximately 500 rupees for one voter, we can find the required amount for the 16 million voters to hold this election. We emphasize that if the government is not ready to give this money, we as citizens are ready to find the money.
අවධාරණය කරනවා මේ මුදල් දෙන්න ආණ්ඩුව සූදානම් නැත්නම් ඒ මුදල් හොයන්න පුරවැසියෝ හැටියට අපි සූදානම් කියන පණිවිඩය ආණ්ඩුවට දෙන්න කැමතියි.
President's Council Salia Piris, the president of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, speaking on the program Patikata, commented on an interim election that was held in Kalawana.
මහමැතිවරණයක් පැවති. ඒ මහමැතිවරණයේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය ඡන්ද 1600කින් විතර දින්න.
A general election was held in 1978. During that election, the United National Party won the election by about 1,600 votes and Aberatna Pilapitiya became the MP. The parliamentary seat of Aberatna Pilapitiya was challenged through an election petition. While the election petition was ongoing, Aberatna Pilapitiya did not attend parliamentary sessions for a period of 3 months and his parliamentary membership was revoked. Later, an order was issued holding that the appointment of Aberatna through the election was illegal and for an interim election to be held. An individual named Piyasekara was at the election commission at the time and he announced dates for the interim election. Aberatna Pilapitiya brought forward a new argument, saying that he was a member of parliament and that he was appointed by the UNP after his seat was revoked earlier and therefore, although he was initially appointed through an election, he subsequently lost the seat and was later appointed by the UNP. Therefore, he said his seat in Parliament still stands. He informed the Speaker of this argument. The Speaker accepted this argument and went against the decision regarding the election petition and allowed the MP to take his seat in Parliament. When that happened, the Election Commissioner at the time did not back down. He said that he will hold the interim election. Then President J.R. Jayawardena said that is alright, let's have 2 MPs for Kalawana. One is the current MP Abhiratna Pilapitiya and the other is a person elected through the interim election. He brought the 3rd amendment to the constitution. On the 24th of December, the civil rights movement filed a petition challenging his action. The Supreme Court determined that the number of MPs cannot only be increased for Kalawana. The Supreme Court opined that this will affect the right to vote of the people of the country and therefore affects the sovereignty of the people, and that if this is to be amended, the government needed a 2/3 majority in Parliament as well as a referendum of the people. The government understood that they cannot go ahead with this, and Abhiratna Pilapitiya resigned from Parliament. After he resigned, Sarath Muruthettuwegama was sworn in. If the institution of this country can stay strong, these kinds of anomalies will not take place.
තව දුරටත් දැන් මේ රටේම ජනමත විචාරණයක් පවත්වන්න බෑනේ. ඒ නිසා අබේරත්න පිළිපිටිය මහත්මයා ඉල්ලා අස්සුනාම සරත් මුත්තුටගම දිවුරුන් දුන්නා. මේ ආයතන ශක්තිමත් වෙනවනම් මේ රටේ ආයතන ශක්තිමත්ව හිටියොත් මෙවැනි විකෘතින් කරන්න බැරි වෙනවා.
නීතිය නවා ගන්න බැරි වෙනවා තමන්ගේ අභිමතය අනුව.
A propaganda rally of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya took place in Mahiyanganaya with the participation of the opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
The throne speech has become a big deal for some people. While throne speeches are made, the people are suffering here. The farmers do not have fertilizer and parents cannot afford to feed and clothe their children. The government of the elephant, crow and the flower bud do not understand the plight of the people. We need an era where humanity reigns supreme and where development will also benefit the 22 million people. We as the Samagi Jana Balawegaya are prepared to bring about that era.
The National People's Power held a public rally in Muthu on Wednesday.
Do we need an election or not? We need one. Ranil Wickremesinghe has no mandate to govern the country. The people did not vote for him so that he can enter parliament and become the president. The SLPP government also has no mandate. The people drove Mahinda Rajapaksa out. A mandate needs to be obtained from the people to govern. We call for a dissolution of parliament and call for the general elections. Ranil secured the support of 134 MPs, promising them that he will not dissolve parliament. If we show a proper result against the mandateless government, parliament can be dissolved.
MP Namal Rajapaksa presided over an SLPP candidates meeting in Galle.
We urge the people to exercise their vote based on policies. Do not use your vote out of fear. We are ready for an election. As a party, we will reduce the cost of living at the very first opportunity we get. We hope the election will take place. We have faith that if an election takes place, we will secure a resounding victory.
Indian Union Minister L. Murugan will be in Sri Lanka for an official visit.
Indian Union Minister L. Murugan will be on a 4-day tour to Sri Lanka starting Thursday the 9th, during which he will visit projects built under the grants provided by India for the development of the northern province. During the visit, Murugan will also dedicate to the people of Sri Lanka the Jaffna Cultural Centre, the foundation stone of which was laid by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2015. India's PTI service reported that the Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting would visit various sites that underline the scale and extent of India's people-centric development partnership in Sri Lanka and also interact with a cross-section of leaders and stakeholders.
Maintain
The Flight of Independence from the 17th of February.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. To follow details of these stories and more, you can log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Charlotte Benedict for the News First team. Take care. God bless.